These are 5 dark and scary stories that you submitted to me. A woman was renovating her childhood home and she emailed me in a story where she discovered a human tooth behind the wallpaper of her childhood bedroom. She thought it was a prank until she remembered that her sister went missing when they were kids and her family was told that she ran away. This next one is about a teen who sent in a story about a man who was standing in their backyard every night at exactly 3:13 a.m. One day, it seemed like the figure got a little closer, but he would then freeze when the teen would turn on the porch light. And here's the kicker. A neighbor later said that a man had died by ending himself at that very spot just 2 years ago. In our third story, a college student was desperate for money and she took this babysitting job that was a little bit out of her town in a more rural town. She arrived to find a porcelain doll in a crib. And I swear this is like the plot of that movie called The Boy. The family had this very strict routine for the doll, where the girl had to feed it, she had to rock it, she had to make sure it never cried. And then she was sleeping over one night and she heard crying coming from the nursery. And she went over to check on the crying and she noticed that the doll was no longer in the crib. This man wrote in about how he was visiting his grandfather's grave only to find the tomb disturbed. He contacted the cemetery, and here's the creepy thing. The cemetery insisted that no one was ever buried in the plot. What kind of conspiracy was that? His family swears they held a funeral, but there's only one photo of the actual event. He explains that the photo was blurry and indistinct. It was like nobody was really there. This is the final story, so figure out what you're gonna vote on. In this one, a child starts talking about how there's a woman in the closet who knows his name when he plays hide and seek. At first, everybody thinks this is innocent, it's just a childhood imaginary friend kind of situation. That is until the child starts saying things that he had no way of possibly knowing. That's when the family checks the attic and they find a rotting mattress, a lock of hair, and a diary written by a woman. And this woman happens to have the same name as the child. Vote on the scariest story and I'll tell you the whole thing.